go, and we're live. Give me one moment, guys. I literally just got an email that's going to throw me for a loop. Some kind of in a little bit of a weird spot. I'm just going to quickly post the stream, and then we can get started. There we go. Cool. Right, sorry about that. Yeah, so we're continuing with Oliver Tree. There has been a development with the project, which is I found out that there's a music video called Bury Me Alive, and it has some pretty beautiful makeup work, honestly. I.e. this. So before I started the stream, I did, I don't know, two hours, maybe 3 hours this morning. Just kind of knocking something up for that. So with that in mind, I apologize, but we now have the the finished look of the project. Obviously it's quite speedy. It's just a single layer mesh, but I find it quite funny. So I won't be working with this visible all the time, but I will occasionally render with it. I did do some shading work as well, so if I get the render up. So there's some edge wear and cavity work on there. It's complete nonsense, but I find it quite funny for the project, and honestly it's kind of fitting. So yeah, I've also been repainting my room part of today, so yeah, I'm not mentally all there at the moment. But yeah, so other than that, I guess we can get started on guide work. So the latest render that we got was in... That's the wrong project. Let's go to Groom Studies, Oliver Tree, Images. So the latest render we got looks like this, which obviously, although it's closer than the previous renders, still isn't quite what we want. There's a lot more interesting flows happening on this version than this. There's also a lot more stray hairs. So I'm going to quickly address the stray hair thing first, and then we'll work almost entirely on guide work for today. I also need to get this life goes on thing back on that side, because it's moved for some reason. But yeah, so I'll quickly fix that, and then we'll get to work on the hair. So, but as always, if anyone has any questions, do let me know. Just making sure that I'm streaming, yeah. Making sure that my audio, was working. But yeah, so how's everyone doing? I hope everyone's doing well. Okay, so let's group that. Duplicate the group. Okay, we need to... Let's just rotate that, wasn't it? In fact, no, it was... Modify freeze transforms. Modify center pivot. Modify center pivot. Hey G1, how you doing? Sorry the stream was a little bit later today than usual. As just saying, I'm going to go ahead to do a little bit of painting. And go out and buy paint, make sure it's matching the stuff that's already on the walls. This moving out thing is a nightmare. Cool. So we've got that sorted. Modify, freeze transforms, save the scene. But yeah. So let's get started on the Groom work. So question, do you guys want me to work with the mask visible or without the mask visible? Because it doesn't really change it, it's just whether or not it's funny to look at. Where's the new name? I apologise for how much I'm about to butcher your name. Bavonsack? Bavonsack? How would you say that? Like, how many syllables? Bavonsack? I guess that's how you'd say it. But I'm awful with names. So let's get a few more. And let's put that frequency up a little bit. In fact, let's add a rand to this. So 0.2 to 0.3. 0.3. Wait, was my frequency 2? No, it definitely wasn't. Okay, so 0.25 works. So rand 0.25, 0.4. There we go. Bit more randomness in there. I feel like we'd need to lower it towards the tips to get it to work correctly. Stuff like that. That works better. Okay, so we also needed to fix. Let's fix up the parting point. Because currently the parting's getting a bit too far forward, I think. So let's just go xgen and go to the region mask. Yeah, so I need these guides to actually be a bit more forward, don't I? So it's not actually the parting map that's the issue, it's these two guides. Yeah, they're doing too much of their own thing. Okay, so let's get xgen. Move this evil button off to the side. It's parting the hair too much. Okay, let's do one guide at a time. That's right. Oh, great. I'm really surprised. Yeah, normally when I see a name that isn't like conventionally English, like I get thrown for a loop. I'm awful with figuring out names. Well, I'd be screwed if I saw my own surname like in the wild if it wasn't my surname. We're going to need this guide here to stand up a little bit more. So let's get that guy going up. We also need to turn off lock length. So let's just get that. Cool. The scene's getting a little bit laggy for some reason. So this guy, I'm going to have him come all the way forward. And the guide next to him is going to have to pull forward a bit. We're going to use normalize to kind of smooth out the curve shape a little bit. Yes, this will be the second to last stream for this guy, because starting on Monday my monitors have been sold and I need to repaint like quite a few walls in my room. I also need to get rid of my desk, so I won't have a setup on Monday. And over this weekend I got a friend from England visiting, so I have to kind of see us off. So I won't be streaming this weekend either. I won't be on my computer at all, which is annoying because Forza Horizon 5 comes out tomorrow for people who have the premium edition, and I'm a Forza fanboy, so I have the premium edition. So I'm going to get it, get a few hours to play it, and then that's it. I have to wait until I'm back in Canada. I'll say back in Canada. I have to wait until I get to there. Okay, we're going to need a guide in there. Is there a guide there? There isn't. Okay, so let's stand this guy up a little bit more, because that will help. Okay, and then it's right there we need a guide. And possibly in there, but let's get a guide in here for now. Yeah, he's diving down. How do you pronounce your surname? So, controversy. I've actually been saying my surname wrong my whole life, so I say Couchy. But basically, my family primarily lives in Malta. So I say Michael Couchy, as does everyone in my family who's in the UK. However, in Malta, where the family kind of mostly originates, they say Kauki. So I refuse to say Kauki. Like, I straight up, I said Couchy for 18 years before I saw my family in Malta. So I'm going to stick with Couchy, but technically it's Kauki. I just really hate Kauki. I don't like, after saying it one way for your whole life, you don't really want to switch. Let's get a guide in there. This front section might need quite a bit of guide work compared to the rest. And we're going to try to get a few kind of underflows in this past the Groom. Okay, so next guide needs to go here. There's something weird going on there too, so let's fix that. Okay, yeah, fix him. Normally your job in xgen, or who do you need to create CG double hair? So I personally, currently I don't work as a Groom artist. When I did work as a full-time Groom artist, it was in NPC Film, and they have their own proprietary tool called Fertility. Fertility. So that was what most of my digidouble work is in. In terms of personal work, I use primarily xgen for digidoubles. Houdini is something I do need to learn, and if you're new to Groom, I'd say probably worth starting with Houdini, to be honest, at least if you have the capability to. What's that capability? It's not difficult software, it's more just a case of, you know, are you able to get it installed and work with it for your whole project, not just the hair. But if you are able to do your whole projects in Houdini, like if you have the know-how, then definitely switch to Houdini for now. That was a really roundabout way of saying Houdini's the way everything's going right now. xgen's kind of dead. I just like xgen. Alright, so let's start working on these direction variations. So this guy I'm going to have tilt backwards and cross over this way. this guide's messing with me a little bit. This area in general is quite empty, but let's get him going more where we need him to. There's a bit of a flat section here going on. So, it looks like this guide is the cause. So let's check that out. Yeah, you're the cause. Losing too much volume there. And probably need a guide below it to help it out. Yeah, he's a bit boring. So, let's do that. Let's get a guide in there. Okay, so I want this guy to follow this. So we'll have him curve this way and curve this way. That's just to kind of reinforce that shape. That will help it pop out. The smell of paint fumes in my room right now. I've got a window and door open and all that jazz. I'm getting fumed out. It's kind of funny. Need a guide there for sure. What's this one doing? Need a guide over here. Oh, we have a guide right there. Guess we need one there. Yep. Why did he make such a dull shape? So much interesting happening around it. So let's get the hand up. There it is, the beautiful thing. The mask. For those who weren't here at the very start of the stream, there's a music video called Bury Me Alive, where he wears a mask that has balls on his chin. And so I spent this morning modelling that mask. Also giving him his. The mask is on a separate geo layer though, so we can hide it. It's literally just a plain fic, modelled in ZBrush. Nice and simple. But yeah. As I said, I can work with it on if you guys find it funny enough, but my intention is just to work with it off and just have it on for occasional renders. Has that got worse? These clumps don't appear to be in the exact same places, so I've got a feeling something's bugging out right now. No, it's got worse. This giant gap here. I mean, we can force it to be filled. It's in theory. Why my guys not showing? Oh, I was showing. Yeah, okay. Okay. So where's the gap appearing? It's this gap here, isn't it? And we can just generate different primary clumps. It's always a risk of losing those shapes, but let's give that a go. That's better. Definitely need more going on here though. I feel like if we pull this guide up, it's going to help. So let's have him come up to match the other guys. Any other guides in that area that we could use? Okay, yeah, let's just force this up. I guess all this nonsense here is probably part of the issue too, right? Where it's all just following perfectly. So let's just get a little bit of sideways movement in some of these. That's like it's helped. It's a guide not doing some good stuff here. Come on. Play nice. And yet again, another guide that has all this stuff around it, but does nothing interesting. Sometimes the interpolation just is a little bit too aggressive and just like smooth shit out. Because one of the things with grooming is if you have two guides going opposite direction and you put a guide between them, it will become a straight line in every single instance. As long as they're evenly going in opposite directions. This area back here is kind of screwed. He's part of the problem. And then this guy being so low. I mean, we don't have any guides here as well. So let's use this guy. Yeah, he's diving in. Let's fix that. This guy's doing some ugly stuff. He's way too low. Get everything that's happening around him. Something else that was suggested as well is if he's just had a fresh haircut, then this final cut here, the one that's adding the randomness, should be really subtle, if not have a percentage associated. So I'm going to do this. Under expression, percentage affected. That was a mount spell, yeah, 0. I'll give it a more fresh cut kind of look. Next area. I think I need to paint out some clumping in this area. Is it clump 2 though, or clump 1? Yeah, it's clump 1. A little bit both actually. I think I need to paint out clump 2s in this little bit. So let's go do that. I think in future projects I might not use scalps, just to see what the process is like. I did it for the rowing creature, but I don't know, I find it quite annoying sometimes having to switch back and forth. Okay, so let's paint a value of 0.5. Cool. And just get that bit there. I guess we'll do it at the back too, why not? Raise that a little bit. Generally speaking, I avoid blurry values in my clump maps, but just for the sake of getting something quick, that isn't too ugly. Right, so that should do. So save textures, save ptex, and that will just loosen out those clumps at the back there. Should I come further forward? No, because these clumps are super defined. It's just these bits aren't. But that's a really sharp line actually, where it's like clumps then no clumps. So let's imitate that. So I'm just going to go whoop, whoop, something like that, and then blur that bit. In fact, there we go. Save textures, save ptex. And we need to get some sideways motion in these bottom guides. So let's just go like this, and then Let's try something here. See how mental that looks. There we go, we're getting the different directions now. Nice. So let's do a test render with it, see how it looks. And I'm going to switch cam to glasses cam. Needs to zoom out. Might need a bit less of that shelf cut thing that I added in. So it looks like it's got a bit strong with the new reduced cut. Although maybe a higher percentage is what I need of the variation cut. Let's just let it clean up for a moment. Shape-wise, I just bumped this up, don't I? Hey Dominic, how you doing? Yeah, I keep muting my microphone because I got a box of chocolates that I'm working my way through. And as much as I myself quite like ASMR from time to time, never really liked the whole eating sound shit, and I don't want to subject people to that. So I will be muting my microphone from time to time. So here's a question: does the mesh cut need to go up at the back? I think it does. I think it needs to sweep more. And add a bit more of that randomness in. So I'm gonna go to cut 1, a bit more. How can I... I'm not sure what I can do for this. Is string? No. Just keep going into that, it's annoying. So I need to adjust the actual map that's doing this cut. I also think that's a bit too low now. So let's increase that, but then go to this guy. And we're going to just subtly move that cut that we're doing there. I don't know why that keeps happening. So let's just go to this guy. And so I want this side to be lower, that side to be slightly higher. So let's just go to this guy and just step that down a little bit. And step that up a little bit. That's going to do the opposite, isn't it? I think. Hang on. Yeah, that's going to do the opposite. No, it won't. Yeah? Yeah, it will. Fuck. Okay. Save dashes. There we go. And let's quickly adjust that mesh cut. We just want to raise it at the back there. I just want to check it against the roots of guys. Okay, so we've got loads of space. So let's just move this up a little bit. There we go. Edit. In fact, let's add a little bit more randomness to it. Come on. Oh, come on. Alright, okay. I should add some maybe. There you go. There we go, something like that. Cache, Alembic, export selection to Alembic. Mesh cut geo. Xgen. Okay. Oh, I've missed a few messages. Hey man, just bought your course and flipped normal yesterday. I love it. I just realised that I was working with the wrong scales all this time. Learning Maya again. Nice man. Well, yeah. Once you get used to working with the right scales, you find xgen does react a little bit more consistently, I guess. It matters most when you're doing shots, like when you're doing simulation. It doesn't matter as much when you're doing a still, just because, you know, obviously simulation is very tied to scale, whereas xgen, things like density and width are tied to world size, but they can reset to any number you want. But yeah, setting the right scale definitely helps. It makes the numbers a bit more predictable, easier to manage as well. Like, you know, human hair density being roughly 100 to 120 on the density rather than thousands or 10. But yeah, how's it feeling getting ready for your move? Terrifying, honestly. I've been repainting part of my room today to test if the paint will dry the correct colour. Just because with my old stream setup, I had a proper microphone. Like currently I'm just using a headset mic, which is on a pair of Arctis Pros, which actually I'm quite impressed by the sound quality in these things, but it's not perfect. But my old setup was with basically what I recorded my xgen course with, which is a Rode NT1A plugged into a Scarlett interface, so like 3 times the price of my current audio setup. But that meant that my room needed to be treated for audio. So I put up sound kind of foam boards basically on my walls, but the adhesive is stuck to the paint and it's really unsightly because it's like placed so perfectly, like every 9-10 inches there's a perfect little square of adhesive, so I've had to repaint part of the walls, which is lovely to have to do when you've still got your computer set up, but you know, so be it. Right, so let's do a quick test render with this. View, store snapshot. That feels a lot better. I need to round out this corner. Oh, I need to do my Duolingo at some point. It's worked. This comp is interesting. Okay, so let's bulk up the back there and see what else we can do. So I'm just looking at this shape. It's a lot rounder than mine. So I'm gonna go in, turn off this. So one of my favorite kind of tricks to fixing silhouette. Well, it's not really a trick. It's an intended feature that very few people know about. In your guides, you can go to the guide sculpting tool, and in the tool options there's 3D volumetric fall off. Just turn that off and turn off lock length, and then your brush now acts like a grab silhouette brush from Woodbox, so you can just do this and it just grabs all the guides that you're passing through and push that in, and that will help you get the more rounded shape. Obviously we have to do that from the other side too, so let's just do that. There you go. It grabs the whole silhouette. Like if I, well, actually I can't undo, so I'm not going to do that. Speaking of which, let's alt save. Export patches to batch render. Yep. Whenever you alt save, it's good to get one of these out, just for a stationary render. A lot more rounded at the back now. Okay. I'm curious as to what the mask looks like from this view. Perfect. Oh. Again, for those who just joined, so the mask thing, I sculpted it earlier today. Basically, there's a video by Oliver Tree called Bury Me Alive, which he wore this mask in, and one friend suggested it as a joke, so I called them on it and sculpted it. So yeah, we've got a mask geometry to mimic this, which is quite funny to work with. I need to set up the shader to look a bit better close up though. Currently the shader is very low definition. There's a little bit of like edge wear and stuff built into shader, kind of lightening up some curvature and darkening up the cavities, which doesn't work well on the nose, but I need to resculpt that. Yeah, it's working better. Well, that's intersecting, isn't it? This shadow isn't from the glasses, it's the curvature node, isn't it? Yeah, it's kind of Groom. Looks like it's working. I still need to get more side-to-side motion. I don't know why it's not kind of doing anything. Like, there's crossover now, but it's not like it should be. I should probably get one of the images from Bury Me Alive. So we got it in ref. Perfect. This is the dumbest project I'll do for a while, I think. Also, I don't think the balls are hanging low enough anymore. Jesus, what is this project? Okay, so guide work for this region. Let's get a little bit more interest going. So this is where that is. because we can see these clumps. In fact, let's get that back up. Yeah, so we can see these 3 clumps, and it's behind those. So there's the 3 clumps here, here, and here. So this section is where we need the extra interest. And that makes sense, because there's no guides there. And he probably has a lot of control over the... oh, yeah, there we go. He's the problem. Cool. So let's get that. And get this going. Okay, so who are you going to follow? Well, this is curling that way, so we want this to go that way. Let's curl him back that way. Something like that. That will already do quite a lot of work for us, but I'm going to get an extra guide in here to really help it, because it still wants to straighten out. Okay, these guides being straight, kind of an issue. What do I want to do with these? We can curl the top to this way maybe. If I grab this guide as well. Then we have to move on to the other side and give it the same treatment. These two need to do something interesting, so let's just give them this. You're intersecting, so let's just quickly fix this guy. That's a bit too much. Let's straighten that out. The mesh cut's obviously going to handle a little bit of it, but... there we go, we're getting a bit more interest now. There's still a guide up here that's struggling. Come on, there we go. So I'm guessing the area that's struggling is right here. He's not doing too bad, but I'll use him to reinforce some shapes. Okay, so where would that guide have been coming from? Here, maybe? Hello. Hey, there we go. That made me nervous. So you didn't do a bad job either. So where's that straight guide coming from? You need a little bit more breathing room. It's possible we're just looking at these two. There's not really much I can do with them, to be honest. Kind of limited. I mean, it is a bulk after all. There's not much like dynamic stuff you can do with it. It's kind of the whole point, right? It's simple by design. Well, I say design. Do you design a bulker? I'm not sure. This side now needs the same treatment. So my phone's going. crossing too many paths. Okay, so let's get this side a bit more interesting. Wrong one. So this is the bit now we will work on. So we'll grab all this. Cool. Grab you as well. So what do we want to do? There's not a huge amount of crossing, there is some. It's not really enough. Some of these shapes could do a bit more work. This one in particular I don't like. And this one's probably the one that's offending me most, to be honest. It's gone with him. Okay, the flow on this side of the head doesn't make sense, so we're gonna have to really tweak that. Okay, so let's look into this guy. So our hair's going that way. So this is kind of pointlessly contrarian as it is. So what can he do? I guess that way and flick forward, but then that's what these guys are doing. So we need you to come up a little bit more, and let's have it be a little bit less strict with following this guy. We'll get a guide in. I think this guy can work if we have other guides with it. So let's just go get a guide right there. Okay, so this is where your lack of interest comes from, because there's so many gaps between guides. Interpolation is doing too much work. Sorry, YouTube's saying I've got an error at the moment. Let me just refresh that. Looks like it's working fine. Can you guys hear me okay? Is everything working? So YouTube saying it's not receiving enough video data for smooth streaming. Let me know if there's any issues on your side. Seeing issues, yeah, perfect. Okay, that's weird. Yeah, the issue is kicking up errors right now. There's a giant yellow bar across my screen, on my right screen. It's weird. Okay, so I should probably color code my guides. Shape is a bit strange. Also got a message from a guy called Chuck. So if you're watching the stream right now, I will reply. I just don't want to stop mid-stream to reply to a message. Because I didn't get a proper look at your message, but it looked like it is some kind of technical debugging. So if you're watching the stream, I will get to you, mate. If you're not watching the stream, then, well, I'm talking to Finnair. Hey Boris, how you doing? Oh, did you think this is like a video upload or something? Like a premiere? gap there. I sent you a message on guide size in the viewport. Oh, so you want me to... if you want to send your question back into this chat, then other people can see what your question was, and I can try to go through it. There we go. Okay. Let's do this. Oh, that's awful. I tried to get something in order to set up width and taper of guides. Doesn't want to go through the actual editor to set up manually each time. You can do it through the channel box editor. Like if I go and select all these guides, so let me just save my scene. I'm going to do an alt save as well, just so we got a backup. So if I select all these guides, you can just go do width and taper here. So let's do 0.8 taper. You can just do that in bulk. So I place a few guides, run that on all of them. And you got width here. That's one option for you. In terms of scripting it, it's not something I've personally done, but that's pretty quick. And you could always, one thing you could do is if you go into the script editor, let me just make sure there's nothing in there. So we set that to Mel. So create a new Mel one. Oh, they've changed the symbols. But if you go to, I think it's History, Echo All Commands, when you select all your guides and set this to like 0.8, you'll get a this. So you can replace this with a wildcard, like selection, and that will give you all of the guides set to whatever you want. Yeah, going to tab is boring. It shouldn't be too difficult to set up a button for it, but I tend to leave it alone, to be honest. If your scene size is at least for a human, if your scene size is okay, then I think the default guide size is fine. If you're doing a small creature, then yeah, the guide size can be pretty massive. Let's do a render of that. I'm going to take the mask off. It won't be a terribly long stream today, just given that I had quite a hectic day, to be honest. So we're getting a bit more crossing now. So let's go to far camera. And we can probably look into starting the hand place clump hand place stray thing. Something feels off, like really off from this angle. Why does this feel so wrong? It felt fine earlier. Technically it's improved. It just feels wrong. Movement distance. Yeah, I might just get into the whole hand place clump thing. Get that final little level to it. Let's give it a go. We'll just get that top layer with it. Right, so let's go xgen. Let's go to xgen. Description, let's create description. Head, hair, clumps. Let's do placed clumps. 01 desk. Let's get rid of head hair, we don't need that for this scene. Okay, so now I need to decide where do our place clumps go. And we also need to copy so rand a rand underscore a. Just to make sure the shader works. Renderer, Arnold, batch, fic. Cool. Start placing guides. So where do we want the stray clumps? Up here will be the first one. Right, so xgen. Rebuild this. Let's rebuild it to 10. So I just want this guy to go back here and curl forward. Something something like that will do. Copy that guide shape. Paste the guide shape. Don't like that these are on the same level, so let's have him do something like that. Once we've actually got clumps in place, we'll start shaping them in terms of, like, you know, currently we're just kind of proxying them design-wise. Like, what kind of shapes do we want to make with them? But in terms of like height from the hair, we have no idea if that's going to work until we actually place the maps. I already think this one's going to be a bit high though. Okay, let's place you in here. Build. Okay, let's get a guide back here. Normalize. Sometimes normalize makes really nice shapes. Like if this was like a stray hair that I was placing right now, I'd really like this. But it's not stray hair, so I don't really like this. I could have this kink in there. I might do something interesting. Let's just normalize it. And we'll leave that in. Let's get one there. And this guy can just follow the rest of the hairs perfectly, but sit on top. Cool. So that's that. Do we need one here? Guess so. Let's get a couple at the back, maybe. So let's start painting maps for these clumps. Then we can decide if we want more later, which we probably will, because it's looking kind of crappy. So let's get eVisible, xgen. I'll give this 36. I think that's the amount we have in the others. Nice. Modifiers. Clumping. Then let's guide. Right. So let's just double check the density on the F1. 120 and 0.24. Right, so next step is to create a map. Create map. Placed clumps. 01. Mask. Start with black and a textile density 15. Cool. And then let's just click. 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 Obviously these are all currently the same size, which isn't good, but we can vary that later. Okay, so now we need to copy the modifiers from the other places. So let's add a cut. Cool. Let's add some noise. And soften that up a little bit. Cool, then let's just turn off tube shade and assign the same material. It still isn't quite right, but it does something. Also something I wanted to try out. So, Jesus said how if you had a noise that is only at the root and is really strong, it kind of shapes the clumps a little bit better. So now I need to test how literally did he mean that. Oh, that's not what we want. Yeah, let's not do that. Okay, let's just quickly do that. Okay, so if we assign the correct material now, Okay, to delete all the materials. What's it going to be called? There we go. So let's just quickly go into our Hypershade and delete unused materials. Plus you want to kind of bed these in a bit better, which we'll do now actually before we do a test render. It's visibly incorrect. Cool. Let's give that a test render. Xgen, preview and output. Okay. File. Swap patches. Yep. I'm on stream about 10 so minutes.
Just want to be with you right now.
And the last stream tomorrow. I'll do it like midday, like 2, 3 o'clock. And we can focus on getting some nice strays in there. Which is a completely unnecessary step, but I enjoy doing it, so I'll continue to do it.
Are you leaving me?
We're all leaving.
It's like it's still not quite worked for some reason.
You feel me with you right now.
He's pretty visible. I mean, he's not there. That's not him. I shouldn't shoot over camera, because it should be very visible on the other camera. Glasses cam. Yeah, it's definitely not worked. It's booked out. Day. So, what can we do? It's clearly supposed to be working right now. May just have to reload the scene, which is no big deal if we do. Right, it's getting really cold in my room now, so I'm going to have to close that window. 1 second. May the fuming out begin. Still got the paint. There we go. Looks like it's working now. Sorry, I just muted the microphone there. Wait, where are you coming from? Oh, what? Is it coming from the club variants? Seriously? Oh my god. Okay. We're not using club variants. Yeah, looks like it's working. Okay, cool. I think this will be where I end the stream, to be honest. So I can leave this doing its renders for the night. Yeah, does anyone have any questions or anything you want me to quickly go over before the stream ends? Because I'm happy to kind of sit down and quickly demonstrate something if anyone has questions. I'm just conscious of the fact that tomorrow will be my last stream for potentially a few weeks, so I want to make sure that if anyone has anything they want to know how to do, I can cover it before then. If not, I guess I can quickly explain what I'll do in next stream. So next stream, obviously I said we'll do some handplay strays. All this stuff to get like this kind of guy. Like this, like, oh, I could do another strays node for that, I guess, but we'll do something like that. And I also want to work a little bit more on getting these clumps here, which I'll do with the handplays clumps. I'll also add a few kind of sitting on top to get that depth. Literally just line up these two. And that will help it a lot, I think. But yeah, so that's going to be it. Looks like that no one has any questions, so I'll end the stream here. But I hope you guys have a great night. And I will, yeah, I'll get back to you guys tomorrow. It should be around 2-3 o'clock Greenwich Mean Time. And yeah, we'll see how it all goes. So enjoy the rest of your night, and I'll see some of you again tomorrow. Bye, guys.